They go out, they win the in-season tournament. It was an absolute joy to watch LeBron at almost 39 years old do his thing. I was, one of the many who voted for him for IST MVP. I thought he was deserving. What is the state of that Lakers team right now?
Yeah, well, you mentioned drama. I mean, there was some drama last night where they entered the fourth quarter with an 18-point lead. No LeBron. They're playing the Spurs, who have lost 17 games in a row at that point, and they almost blow it. San Antonio ends up, getting within a couple points late, and Victor. It was the Victor Wembanyama show, and you mentioned him
Yep.
earlier in the pod. Like
He was
he
good.
had 30 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks last night. Had a insane sequence where he kind of drop steps on AD, dunks it emphatically with his left hand. Next possession, Max Christie takes a shot from a good like 6 to 8 feet away from Victor, and Victor just reaches his arm up and blocks it at the apex of its arc, and then that triggers a San Antonio fast break that leads to a Victor alley-oop. So it was just like a three-play consecutive sequence of this is what this dude can do against, as you just said, a pretty good team that's been playing really well. So I think for the Lakers, they've really discovered. I mean, first off, they've gotten healthy. I think that's been the biggest thing. Jared Vanderbilt missed the first 20 plus games of the season. Rui Hachimura has been in and out of the lineup. Torian Prince has been out for a little bit. Gabe Vincent hasn't played since missing the first or playing in the first 4 games. So they haven't had their full rotation. And this has been a group that was kind of constructed in a way where it's like we can play different styles depending on our opponent. We can go big, we can go small, we can go fast. And they're really kind of geared on having some of these perimeter defenders. So for them not having Vanderbilt in particular, I think was a big absence for them. But since then, like you've just seen, I mean, they won the in-season tournament. Didn't have the toughest slate, if you want to be a bit of a critic. Like you look at playing New Orleans and Indiana in Las Vegas, it's not the same as playing. I mean, they did beat Phoenix on the way, but it's not the same as playing like Denver and Boston or Denver and Milwaukee,
Sure.
to win it all. But you play who's in front of you. And I think really their defense, particularly on the perimeter, and their size and their length. Like you saw it in that Indiana game, they had 86 points in the paint, and a big part of that was Anthony Davis, but it wasn't just him. It's just this is a group that often has three guys at least 6'9" or bigger on the floor, and just that level of size, that physicality, and that toughness and defense that they play with, like that's just hard to match up with. So I think right now, with the exception of Denver and Boston, like they have to be in that conversation for like third best team in the league. And that was not something I was thinking as recently as a couple weeks ago. But the level of defense that they played, the level LeBron and AD have been at, I've been very impressed by them.
That's an interesting debate, and I'm pulling up the standings to see what I think. I mean, for
Standings
one,
wise, they're not third, but
no, I
I
get your
think
point though, and I think
yeah.
to frame it a little bit differently, it's going to be very interesting to see. Let's see how far out is that. They have got a little stretch coming up here where I just lost it on my screen. Apologies. We got Minnesota on December 21st at Minnesota, at OKC on the 23rd, and then Christmas Day against Boston. That 3-game stretch is going to be very telling because OKC, as crazy as this sounds, I mean, they're in that second tier of teams right now. I mean, they're 15-7.
Yeah.
So the Lakers, and
I
they're real.
I put Minnesota in there as well.
Yeah, no doubt. So the offense, of course, with the Lakers is the thing to always watch. Comes and goes. The Cam Reddish revelation has been something nobody saw coming. Not only helps them defensively and gives them a guy on the wing that's playing really good defense, but Austin Reeves coming off the bench has been good. It seems like their spirit is good, man. And I know I sound like the fans get tired of all the constant LeBron praise, but I just can't. In Vegas, Jovan, as far as LeBron observations, it just absolutely blows my mind. It's not just the way he's playing; it's just the way he's carrying himself, and it's the way that really Slater, and you weigh in here, like it. I often think about LeBron in the context of the Warriors, where it's like aging gracefully, playing at a pretty high level, and Steph is playing at a really high level. but not able to keep the drama to a minimum around him. LeBron has had his time. It has not been that long
Yeah, I was
since
going to
the
say
Russell Westbrook era.
it's flip flopped like
Yeah,
almost every year. It flip flops, but
no doubt. So, I mean, I guess maybe I got recency bias, but right now, to just sit back at a Lakers game and go like, you know what? I'm not going to focus on anything but the basketball. This dude is incredible to watch. Kareem never did this. Michael never did this. You talk about, late in career greats. Nobody has ever done this.
no, I mean, like it's the energy level and the conditioning, right? At his age, and he was he was overpowering like Zion basically in a Pelicans game, and in a
Running past him too.
in a Pacers game. That what are the Pacers known for right now? Just like zipping up and down the court and like outrunning opponents, basically outscoring them. Like not his power, but also his conditioning was like on display again. So to me, it's just a testament to every minute he spends off the court to prepare himself for on the court. And and that's a Steph story. You're talking about Steph. That's why he has aged the way he has. It's Durant, the way Durant works, really, particularly on his game, is aging the way he has. And like LeBron is obviously the pinnacle of that, but we are entering an age, I think, where if you treat your body right and if you spend the type of money that LeBron has publicly said he spends to keep his body the way it
Which,
does.
by the way, is like a drop in the bucket compared to what the man has earned. That always cracks me up about that kind of storyline. And I forget the exact number, but every
Yeah,
time I've seen a number, it's like, okay, that's nothing to that man. Of course he
no,
would.
for sure. And I mean, it makes him more right. How much more money is he making because of the way he has spent money on his body, into the future? But yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, go ahead.
Well, no, Jovan asked an interesting question. I'm curious of your opinion, in terms of the Lakers ceiling and what you're seeing out of them and how real it might be. Do you buy them as a potentially top 3 team in the league and really by proxy, I guess, uh, a title contender as currently constructed, or how do you see them?
Me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I concern myself with the Denver matchup. Like they were the second best team in the West last year, and then they got swept by a team that I still think
But it
they
was
have
a good sweep.
a great sweep.
It's
And
competitive. Slater.
yes, I'd ask Jovan because they lost to him on opening night, and
Yeah.
it just seems like that is just a bad matchup for them, and that team is not out of their way. So that would be I could get the argument that Jovan was making. Like, sure, like it's a clumped league right now. I think we'd all agree. Like I could hear the argument for like 7 teams for that third spot. The Lakers are certainly one of them, but are they better than the Nuggets? Can they beat the Nuggets in the playoffs? I'm skeptical.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to so I agree with you on the Nuggets. I do think that a healthy version of this group with what we like, because again, Sam mentioned it. Like no one saw this Cam Reddish thing coming. Like I was a skeptic of it. I was on record saying I was not a fan of the signing. I thought they were kind of wasting a couple roster spots with Cam and with Jackson Hayes, and Jackson's been okay in limited minutes. Isn't really a big part of the rotation, but Cam has emerged as a starter, and he's been shooting the ball better. He's been playing really good defense. Before getting injured for a few games in November, he was leading the league in steals in the month, and just has become this kind of. It's almost like he's Jose Alvarado or TJ McConnell, but at 6'8", and he just has these steals where like he pretends he's trotting back on defense, and then all of a sudden you throw an inbounds pass, and he's like a cat just popping out of nowhere stealing the ball.
Cat
And
Reddish,
he had a
baby.
couple of those. He had a couple of those last night against San Antonio. And it's just like people still aren't really taking Cam Reddish seriously. I think on scouting reports, but he's making open threes. The Lakers have simplified his role. It's the first time where he's not trying to ISO guys and take them off the dribble and take these pull up mid range jumpers that he kind of did in Atlanta, New York, and Portland. And all of a sudden, it's like, Cam, you are a 3-and-D player. Your job is defend the best perimeter scorer and take open threes, and that's it. You're not doing anything else. Maybe you'll get a transition bucket. So he's played really well. Max Christie has also played really well. A couple weeks ago, held Donovan Mitchell to 1 of 7 shooting. Had some big crunch time defensive possessions against him in a win over Cleveland. So all of a sudden, I think that the Lakers have this perimeter length and defense that we weren't really anticipating. We weren't sure what to expect out of some of these guys. But that said, they have a Jokic problem. And the fact that Anthony Davis, up to this point, over the last couple of years, has not really been able to, find a way to slow down Jokic. I think as long as that problem exists, you got to give Denver the clear edge in that series. And I don't really know how they solve that, because if Anthony Davis can't guard Nikola Jokic, I don't know who can. Like,
Man, he can't
he's
even
just kind
solve
of this unsolvable problem.
out here in Sacramento, Jovan. Sabonis is
I
often
mean,
called
Sabonis, yeah, no,
Jokic light.
Sabonis is giving him problems.
He can't even solve Jokic light, let alone Jokic
Yeah,
himself.
I think no, that's a fair.
Slater's not buying that one.
Having a good morning today.
It's the coffee, baby.
I think
it's the coffee. Drugs.
For the Lakers, though, my thing is just like LeBron and AD in a series. We've seen it now, and I think you saw it during last year's playoff run. Like, when those guys, like, they're not going to take every game seriously in the regular season, because AD has dealt with the injury stuff. For a near 31-year-old, he's pretty old in terms of just like physical wear and tear. LeBron's about to be 39. And I think getting those guys to be locked in over an 82-game season, you're not going to really see it. And I think that's why you saw, like, they've struggled in some of the regular season games, but give them the in-season tournament and give them something to be motivated about, and they will go 7-0. You'll have an average margin of victory of 19 plus. So I think that team, are they going to be like the 3 seed? Probably not. I could see them being like a 4, 5, 6 seed. But as a 4, 5, 6 seed, you get them in a 7-game series. And I just think, like, what team can match up talent-wise with LeBron and AD in terms of star power? Like, in most series, they're going to have at least 2 of the 3 best players, if not the 2 very best. So that's where I just think, like, give me a healthy LeBron and AD, and I think that team can win just about any 7-game series, with the exception of probably Denver and maybe Boston. But so that's why right now I look at them as the likely 3rd best team to win it all. But a lot of it comes down to health. Do they make a move at the deadline, and can they get some better shooting? Because the shooting has been a really big issue.